stand on this
Yeah,
angle?
yeah, see it, definitely.
There's the palm.
Right.
That looks like a handprint. We've got to go explore Deep Creek. We've got to go look for prints, tracks. See if there's anything going on down there. It looks promising already though.
Well, this is our second official morning of our camp out, and I know that there's been some experiences last night, so I think it works well with time frames myself between midnight and anything happened before midnight for anybody when you went to bed. You had something, Ash?
Yeah, there was a really large snap that occurred around 10:21. That was beyond in that area that you heard the,
Oh, okay.
yeah, in that,
At Rock Camp, up on the hill, just by the camping area.
So then from midnight to 2? Nothing? 2 to 4? Yeah?
It's almost 4. I woke up at 4, which is kind of late for me because I like to do the 3 to 5 lay and listen. And laying there and didn't hear anything, still listening. But at 4:30 is when stuff started happening for us down at Mushroom Camp. And it was the owls. One was very near Chris Beata and my tent. I would say within 20 yards and straight up.
Yeah.
Not far. And it was doing the hoo-hoo, 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 hoo-hoo. And a second one would answer down towards the lake. And then a third one would answer up on the hill closer towards Rock Camp.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
at 4:27, that's, I remember looking at the watch. The light did work this time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it did work this time.
Huh.
I was awakened by the woo woo woo. You know, really,
Right above us.
really loud. I mean, like really close. I laid there for a moment, and I was like, okay, it's getting ready to start. So I lift, and so yeah, so you're really snuggled, and you get some noises from your sleeping bag. So I'm getting my head all cleared, and then in the rustle of all this, I am glancing up again, and I want to say that I saw. I just can't remember the sequence if I checked the time after or before the light. I don't think it really matters, but as I was laying there getting all ready to do, get my ears open, something just kind of went over the top of the tent, like it would have been someone in our area, just kind of illuminating our tent briefly.
Really?
Just briefly, towards the front. I lay there and I said, well, that's got to be Pat. Or Tristan.
I did get up to pee. I don't know what time it was, but
Yes.
it was, and it was starting to be light out, so I had my
It would
little
have been
headlamp
5:15
in,
or
but I was
more.
just shining it down so I didn't trip on a stump or anything. I
Yeah.
don't remember shining it
It
that
doesn't-
way at all.
The
Yeah, I didn't
sunrise is closer to 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Starting to
okay.
get
so
enough
6 o'clock you'll start to see light.
Yeah.
So if you're at 4:30, there's no morning
Yeah.
light
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
And I
And
was
then-
laying there and got no light, and I'm 20 strides from them, maybe.
Yeah, so it was just something just kind of like a glance over the tent, and I said, well, I'm just going to lay here and listen and see what else. I can confirm the owls at different distances. That was going on.
That was
And then when I spoke to Pat, I said, did you by chance go out and use the bathroom or anything? And she said, well, I did. And I said, well, then, if that would have inadvertently been you, then you would have no doubt heard the owls.
I didn't hear the owls.
And she
Oh.
said she
Yeah,
didn't.
but still, I
So-
mean,
No,
I'm
you
not
would have heard
totally
those
No,
owls.
You went out.
You think I'd hear an owl
All right.
right over my head?
Yeah, then I think your time was different.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Definitely
so
did
I
not
don't have an explanation for the light,
Right.
other than I
Right.
thought maybe someone was shining a
Right.
flashlight.
Yeah.
Any shadows from branches?
No, I can't remember anything else that was unusual or anything like that.
So there's nothing between the light and the top of the tent.
No, it was literally like just a light just like glancing over the tent, so to speak. And you could see it, and I was wide awake. No mistaking, no dreaming, no nothing, 'cause I remember hearing the owls and
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
I had one thing I didn't mention. yesterday after breakfast, I didn't sleep much the night before, and so I just went straight to the tent to go to bed, take a nap, and as I start to unzip the tent, I hear a tree knock down this way on the opposite side of the tent towards the lake, and so I started walking out there to see if I could get any closer to it, and then I realized I had the chainsaw in the truck. I didn't want to leave it there, so I turned thinking maybe I should just get the saw out of there. And then I heard another knock behind me, as if
He's
it was
turning around.
as if it was like
Yeah.
that was the impression I got. Same thing happened. I walked a little bit further out, and it's like, no, this is silly. I got to get the saw. And so I turned around, and another knock, same direction, and it's like, all right, something's going on here. So went probably 100 yards in. And maybe a little bit more, and there was a fourth knock, and then a single woodpecker knock, and you can really hear the woodpecker knock. It kind of echoes at the very end of the knock, so you could tell it was different. It wasn't right, and so I just stopped, and I did a real slow 360, and found a massive X over here. Now these trees have a lot of there's a lot of blowdowns and stuff, so that's by itself not remarkable. This looked really good though.
You found two of them together.
And then as I got closer to it, there was a second one, almost as big, right below it at a 45-degree angle off the ground. And part of them was placed there with, there was no stump where it was placed there. There's nowhere it could have blown. There's no
Origination.
there's
point.
no origination point, no stump or tree that it could have blown off of. And another one kind of at a final touch. And these are all perfect angles, and 30-degree angles, all of them. And so one crossed the top of the lower X real nicely.
Another
Yeah.
big branch.
So this morning I decided to walk down there and just look for game trails to this camp, and found a third one.
Oh, you did?
It was an asterisk, and it was placed. It was absolutely placed. There was the main tree was woven in between a bunch of others. It was broken. There was no There was no stumps out there.
Pictures?
I got pictures.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So what about the tracks that folks found?
Yeah, who had
We found a
tracks?
track by our camp. Actually, it was Pat and Tristan did. I'll let them tell you.
You tell them, Tristan.
Thanks, Mom. No, I know I did. Yeah, so we were coming back from the lake yesterday. By the way, there's a bunch of tracks on the lake. But anyway, we came back from the lake, and to the right-hand side there's like a mound. It's like a little hill mound, and it's just a bunch of dirt and crap like that. And then what initially got me to look is that I saw this weird impression by the side of this where you turn into your car, like
The parking spot.
the parking spot. Yeah, there's a parking spot behind Deb's trailer, and we parked the truck there. And when we got out of the truck, I noticed like there was this weird impression in the path there where we drove the truck into. And I said, that's kind of weird. I didn't really think that was a footprint, but then I started looking around it, and I went around onto this mound, little hill area.
Just a low rise.
Just a low rise.
3 foot
Yeah.
rise, maybe.
Yeah, and then lo and behold, there's this like, this footprint there, just like a few inches deep into the soil, and
Very well defined.
very well defined. Like you can't mistake that for anything else.
Very
Like it's
cool.
just like a perfect, almost cookie cutter cutout there in the ground, and
We measured it.
we measured it. Yeah, it's about 10, 11 inches long and 6 inches wide.
Yeah.
Wide, for
The
sure.
toes aren't as defined because I think it's an old print, but I mean we did cast it, so
Good.
let's see if there's more detail. when
And we have
pull it out.
photos of the cast.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting to see that there, and
Right by.
it's like right there. I mean, I don't know how recent, obviously, or
Right.
how old it is, but
Right.
it's just. It's only one track. Till we try looking for
How
others.
deep
I think it's very recent
print
because
Yeah.
it's in dirt. soil.
There you go. That's
And it rained
Yeah.
tremendously here on day
yeah.
of
The rain would have
setup.
wiped it out because it was
Would've-
raining.
so
the
I
other
think
day,
it's
and
pretty fresh.
it's still
Because the
there,
rain on
so-
arrival day would have,
Crisp edges on it.
yeah,
Yeah, very
crisp
nice.
heel cup.
An inch
That
and a
would've been
half,
eroded.
inch and a half, 2 inches deep, I would say.
If it was old, it would have been eroded by the rain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's what.
No,
So
crisp
we also,
heel
like he
cup,
was saying,
crisp
we-
sides.
So you thought he just like stepped over the hump, that's why
Yeah, and the heel
Just
sunk
like
the
one
most.
footprint.
That's
I haven't
It's-
seen any
it's-
others.
Yeah, it's like it was going down the road, like
Right.
what we discussed. How did this happen? And it's like it was going down the road and said,
I'm gonna turn here.
haha, one print,
One print.
bam, right there.
One print only.
And you don't see any trackway, no more.
Bizarre.
Nope.
It's like I'm just going to play with these guys and I'm out of here.
Right.
You know, and then
Had a
yesterday,
nice heel on it though, I said that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. You,
And good display on the...
when we
Yeah.
went down to cast yesterday, we were also looking for a place to do a night sit on the lake. And so we went down the point from camping spot 10 and we found a great structure and you filmed it. You and Tristan
Teepee.
stopped. Remember? It's
Which
all the
one?
leans up.
Oh, I
Oh,
took
the
a
one I
picture of
showed
that
you
too.
there on the
What do you
island.
mean which one?
I
Yeah,
found
I
This
know
thing
what
has
you're-
I
massive.
know what you're walking.
Yeah, I know
and
what
I
you're
told
talking.
him,
It's
I
on
was
the
like, I'm gonna go
peninsula.
up
We discussed that.
Yeah.
inside the
But hold
woods
on.
there.
But the
in that
peninsula.
little-
So him and I discussed it, and I said, well, normally how I look at the structures is I'll just say, I ask myself a couple questions. I say, can I build this structure?
Of course.
And I'm
That
like,
one.
yes, it's within human capabilities. And then also, what would be the reason why the structure would be built? It was definitely a blind.
that's what I was thinking.
So I can't necessarily rule out that young kids did it just the same. But yeah, it was there, and I saw it. But when we went down the trail,
There's another.
we went down the trail, we saw a print that looked like what you found here.
yeah. Yeah. Down that. Well,
It's like the same
okay.
shape, and
The one that you were trying to kick.
and Penny
Yes.
said, well, we can't
Yeah.
rule out people coming down the trail,
Yeah.
but oddly, it looked
And
similar.
Yeah.
I
it did.
took
Oddly, it looked very
Similar.
similar.
6
Yeah.
attempts to try and recreate the clearing of all the needles and duff
Yes,
and everything.
I saw
it is
your print
cleared.
there, yes.
It's not an impression, but it's totally cleared in the shape of a foot. And it took me 6 tries to clear all the needles
'Cause it
and
was
duff.
deep.
Yeah. To do her impression.
It's
It
not
was very
deep,
similar
it's
to the
just
one
clear.
you found. That's
Yeah, it
that's,
was.
that's what I find.
Wide and big. And
Wide in
deep
the front,
and really
the-
deep in there
and
too.
the heel about the same. I
Yep.
want to say about 10 inches, 11 inches still.
Yep.
Where's the next one here?
That's
what we're trying to figure
out. Why are we only
So in theory, the stride would be somewhere here. If it's going
maybe
straight. How do you get just one print,
10
guys?
inches, probably like a...
You're looking at
Okay, 10 so this is elk.
10 inches.
Look, this is elk. Right here.
It's not human either.
No.
No way. It's too. But unfortunately, it's old,
Yeah.
and you're looking at 6 inches in width at the very toe, at the
But
spread of the
it's pretty
toe.
damn distinct. You dogs, you were just looking.
Well, yeah, because I saw this indent over here, and I was like, oh, let's look
Yeah.
around here. Because there's some.
Okay, but hold on, guys.
Good catch.
It came from across.
Yes.
Yes.
So there
we
should
wanted to
be-
look over to
In
So
theory,
she's
there
already
should
on the
be
right
some-
track over there looking at it.
In theory, unless it came down the road and turned in.
It's like something's been sidestepping up here.
Yep, that was an older print though.
It almost looks like somebody graded this or
It does.
shored it up like it was falling, sloughing, and they packed it down
I
with
know,
a
I
piece of
noticed that.
equipment.
It's weird.
It almost looks like it's been mechanically groomed.
Now, what's weird is...
What the hell?
So
One
Tristan
print.
and Pat
One
found a
print.
print.
weird
It's so typical though.
Yeah.
Very typical. One print.
Why is it one print?
Why only
It's almost
one?
like something walked down the road and said,
Here. Nah.
Yeah.
and kept on walking.
Like they're just
Yeah.
trolling.
As in, like, here.
Look at that tremendous
Here,
view,
we
you
are,
guys. Look at that tremendous view.
Oh my God! Look at that.
yeah, the
field up there.
landslide.
I know, look at this.
Scree. Should be goats up there.
This is Washington. Look at this.
Where's the tape measure?
You gotta film the print.
Is it like
It's 10 inches
10
long.
inches?
Yeah,
Okay.
10 inches long.
Yeah. We've seen 12s and 13s before.
They got a big toe spread going on right here.
Right.
So could you lay that beside the footprint? I'm gonna take a picture of it with
Okay.
it.
She wants to do a size
Hold on.
Back
comparison.
away, chainsaw.
Hold
Not
on.
you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
His
The
nibs,
shadow.
his shadows on it. Better in daylight.
Let me see if I can get it just right without it falling.
Right.
Okay, underneath here is the
footprint that was found. And Pat's gonna cast it. Forward, because I'm not gonna keep it overnight after all. This is what Bob taught us, to put bark or something over it.
Yep.
To preserve it until you're ready. Do the last stir here. I made a little bit more than usual because it's deep. It's kind of a deep print. So you start at one end. You go down here.
Oh, and you needed it too.
Yeah. I'm hoping I'm going to catch definition of ridge lines. I thought I saw some with the naked eye, so maybe they'll come out in the
print.
They should.
Mm-hmm.
Then you tamp it down a little bit, push it off the edges, get the toes,
Mm-hmm.
air bubbles out. It's always good to have a little overhang. And you give it a good, probably in this weather, 2 hours to set up.
Done. Thank you.